Welcome, dear adventurers, to Quill and Tale, where short stories meet big adventure. For our veterans, welcome back. It's good to see you again. And for our new adventurers, welcome. Each week we open up the Book of Tales and delve into a fantasy world filled with dragons and wizards and pirates, and there's twists and turns and side quests. But more importantly, we discover the true meaning of the stories in this book and how they can relate to our lives. So, our next story is called The Sea Offers. And our side quest for today is, what is the name of Captain Crust's ship? Good luck, brave souls.
The Sea Offers. Will plummeted through the air, the wind tearing at his clothes as he tumbled from the railing of the first promise. The world spun in a mad, dizzying waltz, wood and sail and sky flipping end over end. Above him, the ship loomed for a fleeting second, its lantern smearing gold across the dark waves. Below, the ocean shimmered beneath the moon's gaze. Were those fins cutting through the surface? Was that a voice on the wind, distant and strange? He had always known he would have regrets. He just never imagined his biggest regret would be not learning how to swim. The events that had led him here unraveled in the breathless moments before the sea swallowed him whole. A prophecy or a curse? He wasn't sure now. A choice? Had it ever truly been his to make? It had begun with that old witch on the docks when he was just a boy, her voice thick with the salt of the sea. She had traced a wrinkled finger along his palm and whispered, "The ocean will take you." Words that had clung to him like cold sea spray, seeping into his bones. His mother, ever superstitious, had taken the warning as law. From that day forward, Will was never to touch the sea. He could drink water, he could bathe sparingly, but the ocean was a living thing, patient, hungry, waiting for him. And then, one day, Captain Crust came waltzing into town, a pirate with a glint of madness in his eye and a taste for irony. He had heard of a boy who had never known the kiss of the waves, a lucky charm to keep his boat afloat. "If the ocean doesn't want you, then I do," he had grinned. And just like that, Will found himself aboard the First Promise. There he had learned the way of the sea without ever once dipping a toe in it. And then the storm came. That evening, the sky had burned in hues of amber and violet. The clouds streaked with fire. The western seas, wild and treacherous, churned beneath the hull as Captain Crust bellowed orders. "Haul the sails! Hard the starboard!" But it was too late.
Which way is starboard?
It's the right side of the ship. A wave, monstrous and vengeful, rose like a titan from the deep. It crashed down with the force of a sea god's fury, snapping ropes, splintering wood, and dragging the first mate screaming into the abyss. Will clung to the railing, his fingers biting into the wood. Every fiber of his being screamed to hold on. Another wave struck, forcing salty water into his eyes, his throat. The prophecy had found him at last. He dared to open his eyes, taking in the wreckage strewn across the deck. A fish, golden as the sun, gasping on the soaked planks. Its swirling eyes were deep as the tide itself. Will hesitated. Even amidst the storm, he knew what it felt like to be trapped somewhere he did not belong. With a grunt, he crawled towards the flailing fish, his belly scraping the deck. "Where are you going, lad?" the captain roared, tying himself with rope to the mast. But Will pressed on. His fingers finally grazed the smooth, cool scales. At his touch, a voice, soft as foam, ancient as the sea, whispered in his mind. "Thank you, lad. A push will send me home." Will flinched. Had the fish spoken?
A talking fish? Really?
Quill,
I mean, are we better than that?
how many times do I have to tell you? There's trolls, magic, and all sorts of fantastical things. So, yeah, there's a talking fish. Why is that any different?
I don't know. Just, you know what? Don't worry. Carry on. Carry on.
There was no time to question it. He shoved the creature towards the edge, sending it skidding across the planks. Just before it vanished overboard, it turned, impossibly, locking eyes with him. It winked, and then it was gone. The ship tilted wildly, nearly tossing Will after it, but strong hands grabbed his ankles. When the ship righted, the storm had passed. Will told the captain what had happened, and Captain Crust, with a strange, distant look in his eye, simply muttered, "The sea always takes, lad, but it won't have you, my lucky charm." Will wasn't sure what to make of it all, but there were more immediate concerns, keeping the first promise afloat for one.
Wait, can we go back? Why is it called starboard?
Most sailors were right-handed, so the steering oar was placed over or through the right side of the stern. Sailors began calling the right side the steering side, which soon became starboard, by combining two Old English words, stayor, meaning steer, and board, meaning the side of a boat.
So it's got nothing to do with the stars. Fascinating. Sorry. Back to the story.
Yet the sea had its own timing, its own sense of irony. Many years, many storms, many stories later, Will sat on the railing of the first promise, watching the sun melt into the horizon. The sea stretched out before him, endless and unknowable. A terrible longing bloomed in his chest. Home. Had he truly lived his life, or had he simply let a prophecy live it for him? Had he ever made a choice for himself? He glanced over his shoulder. Captain Crust was busy charting a course on the poop deck. Maybe, just maybe. Before he could second-guess himself, he pushed off the railing. Down, down into the waiting arms of fate. His mind spun faster than his body. Had he ever truly made a choice? Or had every step, every whisper of fate, every decision led him here? Why hadn't he at least asked for pointers on how to swim? The ocean surged up to claim him, but just before the impact, something broke through the surface. A creature, wreathed in moonlight, its golden scales rippling like liquid fire. Deep purple eyes swirled like whirlpools, ancient and knowing. Silver whiskers trailed like silk, shimmering against the night. Its mouth opened, but no roar came, only a whisper carried on the hush of the tide. The sea does not take, the sea offers. Choose, Will. His last thought was of home. The ocean rushed up to meet him, and then Will stood on the docks of his childhood, the scent of salt and brine filling his lungs. A wrinkled finger traced his palm. "Home," the witch murmured, looking up at him with deep purple eyes, swirling like whirlpools, ancient and knowing. She smiled.
Well, another tale about destiny and our ability to determine which path we take through life. Listen carefully, my friends. If we let life happen to us, like Will did, we may never find our own way. So go forth and happen to life instead, because it is far too short to sit idly for too long. Well, that was our 10th episode of Quill and Tail, and thank you truly for joining us here on this adventure. We'd love to hear from you about the things you'd like to see on Quill and Tail, for we are truly indebted to you for your support. So whether that's a Q&A episode, or if you'd like to hear us read another tale, or maybe you'd like your own book of tales, please comment below or reach out to let us know what you think. Well, until next time, dear adventurers, keep on reading.